context to this particular issue. The controversy between the Nigerian government and Meta platforms centers on allegations of data privacy, discriminatory practice, and abuse of market dominance. Now, it started in 2021, May precisely, when the investigation was initiated. The FCCPC, in collaboration with Nigeria Data Protection Commission, NDPC, launched a joint investigation into Meta's data handling practices, prompted by concerns over WhatsApp's updated privacy policy. 3 years later, the FCCPC imposed a $220 million fine after a 38-month investigation. So they were done with the investigation, and of course they concluded that some laws had been breached. So they imposed a fine. Unauthorized sharing and cross-border transfer of Nigerians' user data, denial of users' rights to control their own personal data, discriminatory treatment of Nigerian users compared to other users or users in other jurisdictions. This particular one, I agree. Facebook treats Africans one kind. Let me just put that there. That's me adding. Abuse of market dominance by enforcing exploitative privacy policies and tying and bundling services without proper consent. These were the reasons why they imposed an over $200 million fine. Now, the FCCPC's final order required Meta to reinstate Nigerian users' rights to control their data, align privacy policies with Nigerian data protection laws, cease unauthorized data sharing with third parties, and provide written assurances to avoid future violations. I actually have to commend the FCCPC on this. Right? They were thorough, they paid attention to detail, and it's good that they were able to catch this. Now, of course, Meta was not just going to take it, so they appealed. They publicly disagreed with the FCCPC's decision and announced plans to appeal the fine, stating that their privacy policy updates were misunderstood and had become popular among users. So, it's just Nigerians misunderstanding it. These are the policies that we use globally. I wonder why you have a problem with it. But in April of 2025, the tribunal upheld the fine, rather. Nigeria's Competition and Consumer Protection Tribunal upheld a $220 million fine, rejecting Meta's appeal and affirming the FCCPC's findings. So yes, indeed. Now, it's also important to note, if you follow these kinds of stories, that Facebook has these kind of problems across different countries. They've been fined by many other governments as well. And they have had controversies around data privacy for a long time. Whistleblowers have come out to speak against the company. In fact, there was a huge one that led to them now changing name to Meta. All of this information is in the public domain. So, it's either Facebook pays the fine, or, like has been suggested and speculated, they might leave the Nigerian market. And like I said earlier, I was supposed to have a guest. Hopefully he joins me, but well, if he doesn't, you and I can have that conversation. The first question I want to ask, and even to those who really know, I still figure that there are parts of this that they do not completely know. But I'll ask anyway. Do you understand the extent to which your data is used? The data that these apps, let's open it up, not just Facebook, the apps that you use consistently on your smartphones, do you know the extent to which that data is used? The second question, which I'm sure 9 out of 10 people will answer no to, if they are being honest. Do you read privacy policies? When you're trying to install an app, it could be on your laptop, your mobile device. Before you do, there's something that seems like a long document that has too many words. Right? Many people just skip it. You just scroll to the end and click yes, because you did not come here to come and be reading. Usually those things are bulky. I don't know if those companies make it like that. Right? But most people do not. Do you read all of that the privacy policy before you install, before you give access to your data? I would really like to know. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp is 080-903-06416. Now, besides Meta, the owner of Facebook, fines will also be given to guests who decide to enter the studio later than is required.
You're not serious. You're not serious.
Uche,
it's good to see you again. You've gone bigger.
No, that's not. You cannot deflect. You can't be running away from where we are going.
Bigger.
If not for the state of emergency, if I do what I want to do now, they say violence has. You understand? So let me just calm down. Uche Anichie joins us.
Yeah.
Welcome. Thank you for making the time. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well, Trinity. Great to see you.
Yes, indeed. It's nice to be seen, and it's good to see you as well.
Yeah.
Every time I see you're promoting something, is there a tech event coming up? Is there something?
Of course, we have a conference happening every year.
Okay.
I'm promoting, then that's fine. But that's not what I'm promoting today.
Yes, indeed. So Uche is a tech and business innovator. He's also the convener of Startup South, and that brand is doing very well. Congratulations on what you've pulled off.
Thank you.
Okay. So I was giving context to the Nigeria federal government, of course, versus the Meta case.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fine hanging on their neck. There are speculations, they've not been confirmed yet, that Meta might leave Nigeria and all things attached. What's your take on the back and forth between our government and Meta?
So let me just start by saying, first and foremost, thank you for having me on the show.
It was a pleasure.
So Meta will not leave Nigeria, to start with.
Okay.
It's just the usual gra-gra.
Okay.
They are going to eventually settle, all right? But I think it's this case is a very significant one. It's one that, the federal government, the FCPC, is signaling that Nigeria is becoming serious about, data protection, and especially making sure that Nigerian citizens' data is hosted locally and is protected locally, right? So,
is that feasible?
It's also, yeah.
Is it feasible?
Why not?
Is it realistic?
Why not? Why not? So already there's a regulation that if you're doing something for any of the government agencies or parastatals, right, you cannot host government data outside of Nigeria.
Okay, I can understand that. Yeah,
it's already there. So this is signaling that they want to take that a lot more further. And that's a good thing for the ecosystem to a large extent, because other than that, what it would mean is that we're just a consuming nation, right? Because the implication is if they have to host those data in Nigeria, then it means that data centers has to be built in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And if data center is built in Nigeria, then it means that we can provide jobs in Nigeria, right? So those are some of the issues at stake, right? In the end, they will settle. It's not the first time, even in the US, even as last year, as recent as last year, in May 2023, right? Facebook was fined.
Last year was 2024.
2023, yeah, but in May 2023, yeah, it's still recent. I mean, it's just less than a year.
Yeah.
That is precisely 2 years now. Facebook was also fined by Ireland. And EU has been pursuing aggressive. I think there's even a case that EU is trying to pursue as we speak, right? So Facebook was fined. I'm
been
not sure.
fined by many countries. I know they also have cases with, I don't know if it's Austria or Australia. I always confuse them.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
all of that is about making sure that the data for every country is, domiciled in those countries, and that's basically what's going on.
Okay, so let's bring it locally. While governments at different levels are pursuing the protection of her citizens and their data, particularly, how aware are people about data privacy, the average Nigerian? Do people really understand the need for your data to be protected? Because I was asking before you came in, do people even read privacy policies, right? I started there. And the convenient answer is no, because those things are... I don't know if they deliberately make it, right? You just want to scroll to the end and accept so that you can get on with your life.
How many? No, those things are not things that people read, and of course, that's why you have, agencies like FCPC. Because even if you read it, right, and you don't find things, what do?
You need the app, so you kind of have to
exactly.
just accept,
so it's the reason you have agencies, parastatals like the Consumer Protection Agency, to basically look through those things and look at things that are obnoxious, right? And then point it out. Yeah? Because typically, yes, whereas you're signing, but again, even if they don't, there's room for class actions, right?
Okay.
There are usually class action lawsuits. It's just that in Nigeria, those things are a bit alien, right? I've not seen... a lot of people are doing different things, different organizations. Like I posted on my Twitter page recently. It's not necessarily data related, but it's part of what we're discussing. It may be somewhere in their policies, but we don't see it. We didn't see it. How do you ask me to? I'm supposed to recharge. I'm buying a particular amount of... You advertised something, right?
Yeah.
You advertised a data plan, and then the data plan you advertise, I'm trying to buy the data plan you advertise. You've not sold it to me, but you've changed. You change it as soon as I select the option, right? You come back with different menus that gives me different plans that are now more expensive than what you advertised.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you give me no options to either...
To opt out or to...
You don't give me any options. And sorry, there's something you advertised that I came for.
Yeah.
So now you're not giving it to me to buy. You're
It's a
showing
trap.
me something else.
Yeah.
Right? And there's no way I can take a decision. So it's either I leave it or I take what you're offering me. So why did you advertise the other one in the first instance? Why is it still on your system?
That's called the hook.
No, that's called deception. That's not hook. Right?
That was what pulled you now. That was what got you in.
No. There is... if you sold something, it's like you telling me that Uche, to advertise on our station is 20K.
Okay,
per minute.
so hold on. 20K per minute are the last words. We have a break that needs to happen now. After that, we talk some more. Please stay with us. 92.3 Nigeria Info, Sam Oracle Chinedu. Nigeria has upheld a $220 million fine against Meta, the parent company of Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram, after a 3-year investigation found the company guilty of violating data privacy laws and abusing its market position. The FCCPC says Meta unlawfully shared user data and denied Nigerians proper control over their personal information. Meta appealed, but in April 2025, the Nigeria Tribunal dismissed the appeal and upheld the fine, while Meta has pushed back, and there are speculations they might leave the country. My guest, Anichie, who is a tech and business innovator, says Meta is going nowhere. And that might be connected to the fact, not the idea, but the fact that we are actually a major data market. Not just in the country, but on the continent, maybe globally. It's possible we have huge figures globally, but I'm certain about the continent. So those figures, a company like Meta will definitely need. Now, Uche, how does Meta normally use people's data beyond the violation of data laws and data privacy and all of that? On a regular, if we were to just study it, how does a Facebook, an Instagram, a Twitter, your average social network use a user's data?
All right. So what happens is they basically use what is called metadata.
Okay.
I mean, I believe that sounds like we're discussing meta and we're discussing data.
Yeah.
And they use metadata, right? So come to think of it, I think that's why they have the name in the first instance.
Possibly.
So they take metadata, and those are bits of, footprint that you leave.
Okay.
When you use the platforms or when you use the internet generally or use any of their platforms.
Yeah.
They are anonymized information, but somehow they are tied to you. Okay. It's not possible for somebody in Meta to say, oh, this is Uche, right? But the system can put all the things together and say, the system doesn't even know that this is Uche, right? But the system knows that Uche likes to wear T-shirts, in quotes, because maybe I've gone to different shops, I've commented on some shops, interacted with some T-shirts online, on Facebook.
It creates a model.
I have spoken, I've made some comments, I've said some things, the kind of people I've interacted with and what they like, right? So some of those things are build-ups, data that is being built up. And so they basically piece all those data together, and they're forming patterns. And they're using that patterns to predict what you want. And they sell that to advertisers. So they basically tell, So they basically tell advertisers, if you're looking for people that like T-shirts, right, in Port Harcourt, so we can show your ads to people that like T-shirts in Port Harcourt.
Yeah.
And so they're going to show the ads to me because they believe I like T-shirts. So, and they hope that I can buy T-shirts because they showed me T-shirts. All right. So it's even more incendiary than that, right? Because it can go as much as the conversations you have. I don't know if you've had that feeling where you just had a conversation with somebody.
Your phone is listening. Something like that.
You just had so all the systems, all these apps actually have the audio systems. When you're downloading the app, it will show you all the permissions, and all of those permissions you actually gave it to them when you were installing it, because they asked you for those permissions and you accepted.
Yeah, but it was in tiny print of a very large document.
Well, no, not that. Even when you're installing the app, it tells you, because it now forces them globally to say, the Play Store forces them to say what sort of permissions they require.
Yeah.
And so you see those things that you have to check. They say this app is collecting this, and you check it and you say, okay, right? Some of them you can say no, you don't want. But the thing is, if you say no, you don't want, there are certain aspects of the applications that you may not be able to use.
Okay.
That's basically what happened. So they will tell you that those things are important for the purpose of, or for the functioning, the proper functioning of the application, the way it was built, right? But that's what it is. So you just hear people, you just have a conversation with somebody, before you know, they start showing you
Ads.
the ads that relate to what you talked about, you know. So that's basically how they use
your data. Okay, so I think, and based on what we've seen, this might be the most evolved system of targeted marketing, right? This machine. Yes, it is so precise to know what to advertise to you.
It's precision ad, yeah?
As regards your behavior and, of course, the algorithm. But the thing is the sale of user data to advertisers legal?
They're not selling your data. So there's a difference. There's a difference between collecting your information and handing it over to somebody and collecting money for that. That's not what they're doing here. They're not selling your data. They're not handing it over to somebody.
Okay.
They're basically using the information they have learned from you, the study they've carried out on you, benign studying as it were. They're basically using it, they're profiting from it.
Okay. So let me put this under conspiracy theory.
Okay. I didn't know that Nigerian will support conspiracy theory.
No. Hold on, you're putting me in a tough spot. The investigations / let me say documentaries, of course, that have come out to indict many of these companies, particularly the Cambridge Analytica thing, was about how user data was used for, yes, advertising was one of the many things, but the big problem they had was politics, actually, to predict, voting patterns, and how in some way it was used to sway opinion towards a particular candidate, meaning that if at this time candidate A is popular in Nigeria and we need to be able to make candidate B popular, so precise to a point that very close to the election, you are certain that a majority of people prefer this person. The social networks, again, conspiracy theory, right, have a way that they ensure that the suggestions and your feed is very different from the other person, just to be able to sway. So the longer you're exposed to certain kinds of material and content, they are able to, the model of you that is, okay, just explain it, already sounds somehow. But I know you understand what I'm trying to say.
So Chinedu, this is not, Sam, see, the thing is not, there's no conspiracy theory, right? It's called data science. They already have data that suggests, they can almost tie down what neighborhoods like certain things, okay, based on the data they have. And, then using that data to the advantage of some other people, or, for political advantage, becomes unethical. And that's precisely what happened with the Cambridge Analytica issue, right? They say that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely,
Indeed.
Right?
Indeed.
So the case here is you get so much power because you have this information. There is a need for the law to step in and ensure that you do not use this power.
You don't abuse it.
You don't abuse the power.
Yeah.
Okay. And in the case of the Cambridge Analytica, that's what happened. They had so much power and they used it and abused it. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily, I don't think it's about conspiracy. When we say abused it, what did they do? They basically allowed a certain side to use the data, right? The other side could have used the data as well if they wanted to.
Yeah, but you see,
I think
Uche,
what happened was these other people knew they knew that they could use the data. They had some smart Alex in their midst, used it and maneuvered the other side.
Uche, one man uses the data for politics. Another man uses the data for advertising, right? It's all data. It's all people's data.
But by the way, when you say for politics, it's still advertising. It's not like you used it.
Yeah.
They were selling to advertisers.
Of course.
So it is what they advertised that is the issue.
The thing is, imagine if I told you, right? Let's even leave Facebook, that I have the mobile numbers of every Uniport student.
Yeah.
Phone numbers.
That's my story. You're sitting on a gold mine, yeah?
Exactly. There are too many people that thing will be relevant for. So I can give you all the... some will say, okay, let me use it for marketing this, marketing that. Now, the question is, do I have the right to take that data that I have? Maybe I got it through, I went to Uniport for something. So what I do with it is the very sharp difference between crime.
No, Chinedu, the first thing first is, how did you get it? The owners of that number give you the authorization to use it for what you're using it for.
No, to get it is the first question.
No.
To get it first.
No,
that I have
that's
it.
What I'm saying. Is the same question I'm asking.
Yeah.
How did you get it? Did you get it legitimately? Did they give you authorization?
So I'm with the school. Maybe it's the school portal. Every student has to register. So by that, your mobile number is
and then you went to the school portal and stole it.
No, hold on. How did you get it? Is different from what will you use it for? Those are two different things. If you're on Facebook, they will get your data.
They're not the same thing. Let's see. Before you get data, you are getting data to use it for something. So Facebook. If I'm asking for your phone number now,
yes,
I'm asking for your phone number because I want to use it for something. And typically, the law requires that I tell you what I want to use it for.
Uche, Facebook has our data, right?
You gave Facebook your data.
Yes, now, so the fact that we both have Facebook account, they have it already. And now, Facebook what will they do with it? It's another conversation.
No, that's the point I'm trying to make. Facebook have your data because you gave Facebook your data. And when you were giving Facebook your data, Facebook told you what they were going to do with your data.
No, they claimed. They didn't tell you everything they'll do with it.
No. They told you what they're going to do with the data. And they told you, if you read that thing that you refuse to read, one of the things that is in that agreement that a lot of us don't read is that they use the data first to improve their system.
Okay.
That's one of the things you will see there. The second is that they will tell you that they build an advertising network and that the data they collect in an anonymized form will be used to guide advertisers.
Oh my.
Check, you will see.
No, I have managed to read a few of those documents when I'm not desperately in need to install an app. But we're out of time and it's crazy. So, in 4 or 5 words that make up a sentence, what regulations... no, we're out of time. Thank you, Uche, for your time. Thank you very much. This is crazy. I have your data, by the way. Stay with us.